you saw something that you shouldn't have seen. How's it going, everyone? I'm Daniel Rodriguez, aka Big D here. It's time to review another movie. This time this movie stars Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, and Josh Brolin. It is a newly released movie, and it's directed by the man who directed Prisoners and Enemy. I've seen Prisoners, I have not seen Enemy, but Prisoners was a very great movie, man. I rented it off Netflix about a year ago. His director's name is down below. I do not want to butcher his name, man, because I know I will mess up on that one. So, yeah, real quick, that is awesome. He's a very awesome director, and it's glad to see that this is like his third big movie, I guess I should say, big movie to come out. And very good to see you back, sir. And this is a crime, this is a thriller, this is an action, this is a bunch of genres. And if you asked me a few months ago, and a week ago, it's still, if you asked me what's your top 3 most anticipated movies of the year, this movie would be on the top 3. I love the cast. I loved the trailer when it first came out. I just thought, man, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be a wild ride. This is going to be an epic story. And, well, I went in with high expectations. And sometimes that's not a good thing to go in with high expectations. You think this is going to be an Oscar-worthy movie. And it could be. It could not be. This is just a non-spoiler review I'm giving you the pros and the cons. I'm not going to spoil nothing. Just going to give you the pros, cons, and the final score. Tell you whether or not you should go check this movie out in theaters, wait for rental, or never see this movie at all. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, a non-spoiler review for Sicario. Alright, let's get right to it real quick. This movie, about the estimated budget for making this was $30 million. So that's not a bad budget at all, man. They filmed around Mexico, of course, Juarez. So I'm going to get started with the pros first. And the first thing I want to say, and the first thing I have to say, is Benicio del Toro. He plays the character Alejandro, and he is a main pivotal part to the story. He is amazing in here. If you walk out of the theater, you're going to be talking about Benicio del Toro. And he is brilliant. And I love him before, man. I know the actor for many years. And, of course, now the generation today is going to know him as the Collector from Guardians. But I knew him way before then. I also love him in The Wolfman. And this movie, he is amazing. He steals the show. He literally steals the spotlight from Emily Blunt and Josh Brolin. Not saying they're bad. I'm just saying he steals the spotlight. You're going to walk out talking about him more than the other two. So, literally, if you're a big Benicio del Toro fan, he's the price of admission, baby. He literally is fantastic in here. He's likable. He's hateable. You hate him, you like him, man. So I love that. The directing in here is fantastic. Just like Robert Zemeckis' The Walk was fantastic directing, this is another well-directed movie, guys. I love the way he uses the camera angles. It's widescreen, and there's a lot of beautiful shots in here of Mexico, of Arizona, and the mountains, and the land, man, the desert. And look, I love it. He captures everything. He captures, like, from a helicopter and a chopper and it flying around. He captures every little bit, man. And I love that. He goes from close-up shots all the way zooming out and zooming and zooming and zooming, and he just keeps on zooming out the whole damn city and the landscape, and I freaking love that, guys. I honestly do. I think that was a very well direction to go. Locations we go, Arizona, Mexico, a few others. I do like the locations. Like I said, the scenery is beautiful on some directing shots. And some of it looks fake, but it's real, and it's beautiful. It's honestly, you wish you were there on set, because Mexico, it may be a bad place some parts, but it's fairly, parts of it when you see it are very beautiful, man, very beautiful, but probably scorching hot, especially Arizona. Let me just say, the ending of this movie, it's a fantastic ending way to end the movie. It's a 2-hour movie. So let me just tell you, the ending, I loved it. I think it was genius the way that the director ended it. I just thought it was perfection. Let me just say that much. I was like, that's probably one of my favorite endings out of the whole year. A very intense movie, like I said. Of course, the music in here is one of the most things that I recognize during here, because the action scenes and the and it builds up and it builds up, and these action scenes literally build up over 6 and 7 minutes. They build up to the climax, man. It's not just some, alright, ready to breach. No, they take 5 minutes to breach. Like, go around. Oh wait, go back outside, or come back in. Just example, like, I mean, they take forever, and it's a good thing at times, because they build up in the music and the music and the score and the orchestra, and it's just fantastic. And it was very noticeable, and I like when the score is noticeable. Some movies, the score is just like, you walk out, you're like, I don't remember the score. This, you remember it in the action scenes. You're like, yeah, I remember. I don't remember the actual full song, of course, but I'm saying it's amazing how you noticed it. Sometimes you just don't notice it, and then you get the rhythm of the beat. And here, you got the rhythm of the beat a lot. So I love the whole music and the score for it. Again, the build up to the action, I love it. Sometimes they just go in guns blazing in movies, but this, they actually build up to it. It's more of a realistic feeling. The middle, which is the second act. If we cut this into 3 acts, the second act and the third act are the best acts out of all. We'll get to the cons within the first act, but definitely for sure the middle was my favorite part of the whole movie, but the third act as well was very well constructed. But it shifted into character, but into different characters, but for sure, middle act was probably the best for me. The effects in here, there are a lot of practical effects. There's barely any CGI effect in here, but if the parts are, it's perfect. It's barely not very noticeable that it's like, oh, that's fake. Nothing went wrong, man. I think it all looked beautiful. It all looked as well as it can be, realistic, and I do appreciate all the effects that they've done, the blood, the explosions, all that. And it's a very fun ride, man. Josh Brolin's character, Matt. Josh Brolin is fantastic in this movie. Now, Benicio del Toro still is better in the movie, but Josh Brolin is the humor to it. He's a comedic clown in here, and he doesn't care, and that's what's so awesome about him, because he's so different from his Everest character to the Mad Titan Thanos. Emily Blunt, man, she is my wife. That's my wife, man. Hollywood, that is my biggest crush ever since I saw her a few years ago, man. Wow. And also Into the Woods and everything. I saw her a few years ago in a movie. I totally forgot what it was, man. But Devil Wears Prada is probably where I saw a clip of her and I was like, Locked Eyes, that's her. That's the one. That's the one. She is a strong character, man. A very strong, well, not like strong, like the breakdown in here. There's a lot of breakdown. But she is the strongest woman in the movie of lead. And she does lead the movie, and at times, man, she does bring the look, the pain. You feel it in her eyes, you feel it in her emotion, and her dialogue, and the way that she speaks. And she always smokes a lot. Like, Emily Blunt smokes well. That's actually very turn on. It's like, because I'm not one of those, oh, you smoke, gross. I'm just like, smoke, whatever. You live one life, go ahead. I don't have no problem smoking, so you can go ahead, man. So I'm like, that's amazing, dude. Anyway, that's just a side note. John Bernthal is in this movie. I won't tell you what he plays, and as you can see, John Bernthal is right there. I met him, and I was like, I didn't know he was going to be in Sicario, dude. So he was awesome in here. He's an awesome character, for sure. He'll get you surprised. And the opening of the movie is fantastic as well. It's just the first act it wasn't bad. It wasn't crap. Nothing in here is crappy. There's nothing really wrong, per se, but the first act was like, meh, compared to the second and third. Well, those were better, man. Really good. So the opening, though, like the first 10, 15 minutes were really, really good. Really, really, really good. Now the cons. Those were the pros, now to the cons, guys. There are a few slower scenes, man. I'm going to be honest. There are a few slower scenes. For sure, man. Well, now I'm not talking about the build-up climax. Those are really good, but there are parts where there's a conversation, and it's literally an 8 or 9 minute scene. And it's good if you make the pacing good, but once it starts to slow down and you're kind of just there, you've been sitting there for an hour and a half, and you're like, okay, we get it. Oh, you're getting another cigarette. Oh, okay. Well, you could pick up the story and go to the next scene already, because we've been sitting for 7 minutes, and I hear people yawning. I mean, it was a full packed house for a Friday night, man. That was very good. I love how people came to see this movie, man, because it's an anticipated movie of mine. But the slower scenes, there are scenes in here where it just, like, I love slow movies, man. I'm a dramatic person. I don't just watch fast-paced movies. I watch drama movies, baby. I do. And it works with slower paces. But this one, not every part. I'm not saying it's a bad movie because it's slow, but there are just some parts where you're like, okay, yeah, we get it. Can you pick up the pace a little bit? We don't really care about your character. There's no objective at first, because as our main character, she doesn't know what's going on. That's not a spoiler. That's like up in the trailer. She doesn't know what she's getting into. We don't know for at least an hour. At most, we don't know for an hour and a half what we're getting into. We're like, what's the main objective of the story? What are we doing? What are you leading up to? And then we find out later in the second act, and it's kind of like, well, you made us sit here for an hour when you could have just jumped to that instead of building up all this hour thing. You could have just jumped to that main story instead of letting us wait. And it's, I love the whole 1 hour thing, but still, I'm kind of like, there was no objective at first. Like, there's no grab on. What do I grab onto? What are you going to hook me in? Oh, the action was fine. Awesome. It was great. But what are you going to hook me in the story? I need the story, baby. Give me that story. I love story. Let me read it. Let me feel it. What do I grab onto? Okay, she's Kate. She's in CIA or whatever. She's in DEA. She's doing all that. Cool. She goes after people who get kidnapped and everything. Sex slaves and all that. Okay, so what's next? That's it? I mean, that's typical. There's many movies that do that. What's different? Give me something different, and it takes an hour or so to get into that different aspect. Also, the first half, like I said, it was good, but the others I felt were just more stronger, the middle act and the third act. Jeffrey Donovan character, he just leaves. Like, you never see him again. He just kind of disappears. He never shows up again, and at a point, another character, one of our main characters, not saying nothing bad happened, I'm just saying it's like they don't say what happens, like towards, you just kind of disappear, and you're like, really, the last scene they were in, that was the last scene? Really? And you're not going to show them again? You didn't even tell us where they were going or anything? So, overall, guys, those are the cons for Sicario. Overall, I'm going to give it a solid B, an 8.6 out of a 10. That's right, I have a new rating system. Instead of doing like if it was a B, it would be an 8.30, 8.40. But I'm just going to do the 8.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 10. 7, 1.2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All that. So an 8.6 out of a 10. I'm going to give that a, it's a really good movie, man. It could have been great. I was a little disappointed in parts. But overall, is it a movie worth watching in theaters? If you're a big fan of any of the cast members or the director, if you loved Prisoners, you're going to love this. If you love cartel movies, if you love Mexican setting movies, hardcore, intense cartel movies, or more of the story in that field, DEA and all that, you're going to have a blast with this film, man. But I do recommend Sicario. It is a very good movie. Not great, it's just a good movie, and I do recommend people seeing it all one day, man. If you have the chance, catch this movie in theater or DVD, whichever one you can make. Watch the movie someday, man. It literally is worth watching and checking out. Thanks so much for watching. I hope all of you enjoyed. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about Sicario. And in the next few hours, The Martian review will be out. Thanks so much, like I said, for watching. Hit that subscribe button for more. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to spot with you always. How's it going, everyone? I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to also check out my other videos. I do TV show reviews, movie reviews. I do also game reviews and game unboxings, movie unboxings. I do a movie podcast, a superhero podcast, much, much more. So go ahead and check out the channel. Thanks for watching again. See you all next time.